Poetry has always been a mirror of its time, reflecting the culture, politics, and philosophy of an era. In the early 18th century, English poetry entered a golden age, an age of wit, structure, and satire. This was the Augustan age, a time when poets like John Dryden, Alexander Pope, and Jonathan Swift crafted verses that shaped the literary world. But where did it all begin? Let's explore the history of Augustan words. The term Augustan originally referred to the reign of Emperor Augustus in ancient Rome, a period when poets like Virgil, Horace, and Ovid flourished. Their poetry emphasized order, reason, and refinement, values that would later inspire 18th century English poets. During this time, England was experiencing great political and social change. The rise of constitutional monarchy, scientific progress, and expanding literary culture influenced poets to focus on rationality, balance, and satire. This era became known as the Augustan Age, a direct nod to its Roman predecessor. So, what made Augustan poetry stand out? First, it was highly structured, often written in heroic couplets, two lines of rhymed iambic pentameter, each containing 10 syllables. This form was perfected by Alexander Pope and became the defining rhythm of the age. Second, Augustan poets embraced satire and wit, using poetry as a weapon to expose political corruption, moral hypocrisy, and social absurdities. Their sharp, intelligent verses entertained, but they also critiqued society in ways that remain relevant today. Finally, Augustan poetry was deeply influenced by classical literature, drawing inspiration from Roman poets to create a sense of grandeur and refinement. Among the great poets of this era, three names stand out. John Dryden, 1631 to 1700, the pioneer of Augustan verse. Dryden was a master of satirical and political poetry, as seen in works like Absalom and Achitophel and Macflacno. Alexander Pope, 1688-1744, the undisputed genius of the heroic couplet. Pope's works like The Rape of the Lock, The Dunciad, and An Essay on Man showcased his mastery of satire and poetic elegance. Jonathan Swift, 1667-1745. While best known for Gulliver's Travels, Swift also wrote biting satirical poetry using humor to expose human folly and corruption. By the mid 18th century, Augustan poetry began to decline. Writers like Thomas Gray and William Collins started moving away from strict poetic structures, embracing emotion, imagination, and nature, paving the way for the Romantic movement. But the influence of Augustan verse didn't fade. Its emphasis on satire, form, and precision shaped future poets and even modern literary criticism. Today, we still see echoes of its sharp wit and structured elegance in contemporary writing. The Augustan age was more than just a literary movement, it was a celebration of reason, refinement, and poetic mastery. It gave us some of the most brilliant satirical works in history, shaping how we use poetry to critique, entertain, and inspire. So now, let us move towards its form and structure. At the heart of Augustan poetry was the heroic couplet, two lines of rhymed iambic pentameter where each line had 10 syllables, alternating between unstressed and stressed beats. This style created a sense of balance and precision. For example, a little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the Pierian spring. This form wasn't just about rhyme, it was about clarity, order, and elegance. Each couplet often expressed a complete thought, making it perfect for satire, philosophy, and storytelling. Augustan poets drew inspiration from Latin and Greek literature, imitating the styles of Virgil, Horace, and Ovid. They borrowed classical forms like epistles, eclogues, and even mock epics, blending them with contemporary themes. Augustan verse was often satirical, exposing the hypocrisy of society, politics, and literature. The poetry wasn't just beautifully crafted, it was sharp, intelligent, and sometimes even ruthless. Take Pope's The Dunciad, for example, a biting critique of dullness and mediocrity in literature, or Swift's verses on the death of Dr. Swift, a poem that humorously imagines how people will react to the poet's death. The poetic devices that defined the era were parallelism and antithesis, balancing contrasting ideas. To err is human, to forgive divine. Irony and wit, clever phrasing to mock or critique. Periphrases, using elaborate language to express simple ideas. Key genres of Augustan poetry. The mock epic, a humorous take on epic poetry, treating trivial subjects with grandeur, like Pope's The Rape of the Lock. Satirical poetry, aiming to expose flaws in society, like Dryden's MacFlecknoe. Didactic poetry, teaching moral lessons, as seen in Pope's Essay on Man. Augustan poetry was about more than just rhyme and rhythm. It was about structure, wit, and intellectual precision. It set the stage for modern satire, influencing poets and writers for centuries to come. So, the next time you hear a sharp, perfectly balanced couplet, remember you are hearing the echoes of the Augustan age. With this, I come to an end to my Augustan words video. I hope that you are finding my content informative and my narration smooth. Thank you for staying in touch. Do comment your views and take care of yourself and your loved ones.